a Donald Trump speech by making him appear to encourage the Capitol Hill riot. Well, according to an internal whistleblowing memo seen by the Telegraph newspaper, the Panorama programme broadcast just 1 week before the US election, quotes, completely misled viewers by showing the president telling supporters he was going to walk to the Capitol with them to, quote, fight like hell. Well, here is the Telegraph's Gordon Rayner explaining.
He played the following clip.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell.
But Trump didn't, in fact, say this at all. The BBC spliced together two clips that took place 54 minutes apart. So let's go through it again.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
Now, see there, between Capitol and, that's a cut. Here's what Trump actually said.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
It's different. It wasn't until nearly an hour later that he then said the second part of the BBC's version.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we fight. We fight like hell.
Absolutely astonishing. Let's now speak with GB News Home and Security Editor Mark White. Mark, we broke this story just before the top of the past hour. This is nakedly abundant to see. That spliced together footage to paint a completely and utterly different picture from what was originally said. Gordon Rayner, fantastic scoop, the BBC, I'll put it to you. Bang to rights.
Yes, I mean, the thing about, television news journalism, there's a big creative element to it as well. So while, of course, journalistically, you've got to be very accurate, when you're building up a documentary, you want it to look as creative and impactful as possible. But the difficulty here is when you take two clips of a speech and you make it say something completely different to what was clearly the intention in what Donald Trump was telling that crowd. Not that they should go down to the Capitol Hill and fight, but they should go down to Capitol Hill and cheer on those brave congressmen and women within Capitol Hill. So completely different interpretation is drawn from the edited version. And this is important because what it does is it highlights some real concerns about the impartiality of the BBC in particular, of course, that flagship programme, Panorama, that the BBC is rightly proud of, that has made so many impactful documentaries over the years. And now some really serious questions to answer. This was a great scoop by Gordon Rayner at the Telegraph, who received what is a 19-page dossier, a whistleblowing dossier, highlighting not just this, but other issues around the coverage of Gaza, around the way in which the BBC reports on the transgender debate. These are important issues which the dossier say the BBC has been not impartial on, but has actually been, in the coverage, taking a very partial view on that.
OK, let's have a quick reminder. I think we have those clips so you can see them side by side. Let's take a little peek.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
They're completely different, Mark. They are completely different. And Gordon Rayner said a third clip had been spliced in of the Proud Boys marching on Capitol Hill from an hour before the speech, just about that further pinch of spice that this was Donald Trump inciting a riot.
And made to look like the Proud Boys were specifically reacting to his speech. In the dossier, it says, if I can just read from that article, they said that Panorama's distortion of the day's events was so egregious that viewers would ask, why should the BBC be trusted? And where will this end? That was in the dossier. Now, this dossier was presented to Panorama. Panorama's editors did not accept that they had done anything wrong at all. The dossier was then given to the chairman of the BBC, and no reply to this date has come from the chairman of the BBC. It was also handed to every member of the board, and as far as we can tell, there has been no meaningful reply from the BBC at all internally to the dossier, and certainly to the Telegraph. We heard from Gordon Rayner before saying that, you know, they gave out a bland, short statement that said absolutely nothing. Now, this is important, I should just add, because, of course, the BBC Charter is coming up for renewal in 2027. The BBC is currently, of course, in talks with the Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, about the options going forward. She has said nothing is off the table in terms of the future funding of the BBC. So clearly issues like this don't do the credibility of the BBC any good at all, and certainly won't help it in its efforts to secure the best possible outcome in the renewal of that charter.